Hey, and welcome to another IC82 review. As you can see, we've got a Heljan model again today. Now, I must just point out, I do know Heljan are Danish, okay? I made a mistake. I made a slip of the tongue in, I think, was it the Kestrel video? The re-review of the Kestrel, the Hawkins of the Kestrel. I said they were Dutch, and they're not. It's Danish. They both begin with D, and it was literally just a slip of the tongue. But oh gosh, you should have seen the backlash. I mean, people at the doors with like burning, flaming stakes and stuff, and oh yeah, I was practically killed for that. So I do know the Danish. They're from Denmark. They're a great manufacturer. They really do produce some really high quality models, and this particular example is no exception. It is a Class 28, as you can see just there. Now, there's a couple of things that are quite special about this. One is its wheel arrangement, and the second thing is its running number. And there's a particular reason I've got D5702. I know that's not the preserved one, I know there is a lovely preserved example on the East Lancs Railway, I think. But there's a reason I got this one, and that's because, well, you'll see in a bit. How about we open the box? Okay, well, opening the box is dead straightforward. Just simply lift off that top section, take away the little foam insert, and there we have it. And it's this sort of dual type packaging. You've got the block of ice there in the middle, but there's a lovely foam insert all the way around it. It's really nice. Very high quality indeed. So let's just take that bit out. And as you can see there, she is all locked up and frozen. Now, there's, as I say, there's a couple of things quite really special, really special about this particular model, this particular locomotive. The wheel arrangement and the running number. Now, which do I talk about first? Before I have a look at the detail, I'm going to talk to you about, let's get the running number out of the way. Okay, no, I'm going to have to talk to you about the wheel arrangement and then come on to the running number. Can you see that? Just look at the wheel arrangement. If I just hold that bogie there, we've got 3 on this side and then just 2 on that side. So there's 3 axles at this end of the locomotive with 6 wheels, but then there's just 2 axles and 4 wheels at this end. And so because of that, the locomotive was called Kobo. It was given the wheel classification code Kobo, because basically that's co, and then that's bo. And it was a great writer of Thomas the Tank stories who thought that it would be really cool to create a character based on this locomotive called Boko. So instead of it being called Kobo, which doesn't sound very nice really, doesn't roll off the tongue as easily, doesn't sound as cute, he called it Boko instead. So we say Boko rather than Kobo. We go from that axle, that bogie first. And if I just turn her around, you'll see that she does indeed look like Boko, because this is the model. This is the running number that if I just move that box out of shot, this is the locomotive that Boko was based on. How cool is that? D5702 literally was the model, the locomotive that Boko, the Thomas and Friends character Boko, was based on. So basically, even though there's no face, I am holding Boko in my hands from Thomas and Friends. That is just so cool. That's why I had to get this, because when I was little and the Diesel started to make an appearance in Thomas the Tank, you had Naughty Diesel, or Davis Diesel, whatever he's called, and then you had Daisy, she was like a Class 101, wasn't she? A Class 121, yeah, bubble car. And then you had this, which was absolutely brilliant, and it was called Boko, and I always loved that name, and I found it fascinating that it had 6 wheels at one end and just 4 at the other. And so I want to talk to you about that a little bit as well. So before we actually look at the locomotive, I'm just going to get my pad of paper and pen and give you a little bit of a lesson. Okay, you're sitting comfortably? I hope so, because it's lesson time. Right, in the world of railways, there's a body, sort of organisation, called the UIC, okay? Now that's actually French. It actually stands for the Union Internationale des Chemins. Yeah, des Chemins. UIC. And basically, in English, that translates to the International Union of Railways. Which I don't understand, because I'm pretty sure chemins means paths. But anyway, so yeah, there's this governing body, okay, this, you know, sort of like you have the NMRA for model railways. Well, for real railways, you have the UIC, the International Union of Railways. Now, they have a classification system called the UIC classification system for wheels, for wheel arrangements on locomotives, which is why our class 28 here is called a BOCO, or, well, a COBO to be technical. Because when you build a locomotive, so if I just turn it around, and let's just build a locomotive very, very quickly, like this. When you build a locomotive and you put the wheels in it, the wheels have to be powered, obviously. They have to have some sort of arrangement. And so with COBO here, or BOCO, as it's known in Thomas and Friends, we've got a wheel there, a wheel there, a wheel there, a wheel there, and a wheel there. Or an axle, I should say. They're axles, really, because you've got wheels on the other side. And so this is known as CO, and this is known as BO. Okay? Now, the class 92, is it the class 92? Yeah, no, it's the class 90. This class 90 here, this is a BO, you see? Because you've basically got nice streamlined ends like that. And then you've got one axle, one axle, one axle, one axle. So that's known as BO. Okay? And what that means is that this is powered. Okay, so that axle is powered, that axle is powered, that axle is powered, and that axle is powered. And so with the COBO, CO means that that axle is powered, that axle is powered, that axle is powered, that axle is powered, and that axle is powered. So, for example, if we take a locomotive like the Class 50 here, what's this going to be? Can you work it out? It's pretty obvious, isn't it? This, basically, is a Coco. It's not Cocoa Pops. It's just Coco. And basically, this has got a powered axle, powered axle, powered axle, powered axle, powered axle, powered axle. There we go. Just like that. And this is called Coco. Okay? Now, it's, as I say, it's the UIC that decided on this system, and so every locomotive has a wheel arrangement according to them. Well, you know, that they gave it this name to make it really, really easy to understand and stuff. But there are exceptions to the rule. If I just go and get it, I'll show you the exception. And here she is. This is a Class 31. It's a Lima model. It's a really old model. We're not interested in the model, but what we are interested in is the wheel arrangement. Because if we just make a drawing of that, just like this, okay, it's very, very similar to the one I've just drawn. Oops, where did I draw that? Yeah, there we go. It's very, very similar to the Coco that I drew there, which is the that's the Class 50. Okay, but it's not the same. It's not the same. If I draw its wheels in, this is powered, that's powered, that's powered, and that's powered. But the middle wheels are not. So, ignoring the model, and well, I'm pretty sure it's true for the Model 2, especially new ones. But in real life, that axle is powered, but this axle wasn't. And then that axle was powered. That axle was powered, but then this wasn't, and then that was. And so they gave this a different classification. They gave this the classification A1A. A1A. Now that does not roll off the tongue as easily as Coco or Bobo or Boko or whatever. And because the 1, if you just draw the 1 like that, looks like a letter I very lazily and very naughtily call this system I, you know, like some sort of pirate, which angers people something crazy because it's not an I, it's a 1, but it's just faster than me saying A1A, A1A. But that's basically what it means. A means just one powered axle on its own like that, but on a bogie of 3, okay, on a bogie of 3 wheels. And the 1, wherever you see a 1, it basically means that the wheel is unpowered. So, for example, we can take this a little bit further. Now, I don't have a model of this, but if we draw a class 44, I think they were called peaks, weren't they? I'm not too sure. But they were something like this. They were huge locomotives, really, really big. And basically, they had wheels like this. Okay, they had 8 wheels at each end. They honestly did, 4 axles. But only these were powered. The 2 on the ends were either for just weight distribution or for helping guide the locomotive around corners and over points and stuff. And so basically, this was called a 1 co 1, because you've got a dummy wheel there, and then you've got the co, and then you've got another co, and then another dummy wheel there. So it's called a 1 co 1. And the class 58, my favourite, the class 58, if I draw a class 58 like this, well, the class 58, as we know, was basically just like this, really quite simple, and it was known as a co. That's it, simple, because they were all powered. There were traction motors on every axle. Ignore the models, as I say, because the models aren't necessarily true to real life, but in real life, yes, this is a class 58. And this would be, for example, a class, is it 44? I think it's 44. So yeah, basically there goes my little lesson on UIC classifications. Now there's also the white classification, but that's for steam locomotives, okay? That's quite different. That's where you point out on a steam locomotive what wheels are powered and what wheels are not. So if we just draw a steam locomotive like this, really quickly, I'm making a really bad job of it, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah, there should be a little bit there. So, for example, what would that be? Well, you've got 3 driving wheels there, okay? You've got 2 at the front and 1 at the back. So you basically call that a 4, 6, 2. Because you've got 4 there. Remember, there's 2 on the other side as well. If I make it 3D. Oh yeah, that's brilliant, Will. Oh, that looks so 3D. So you've got 4 there, 6 there, and 2 there. Okay? And our famous, really simple little 040 shunter, such as this one here. Well, I don't even need to draw it, do I? I just need to put it down. You've got nothing here, and then you've got 4 there, and you've got nothing there as well. So this is a different system. This is just called the white classification system. And the one we were talking about when it comes to diesel and electric locomotives, which have traction motors and stuff, this is called the UIC system. Okay? And so that's why we have such a funny looking model when it comes to the Class 28, because it's a Kobo, or Boko as it was known in Thomas and Friends. Now, why was it called a Kobo? Why did they do that? Why did they put 3 axles at one end and just 2 axles at the other? Well, basically, I can't really find this out, but I'm pretty sure it's to do with weight distribution, because the whole locomotive weighed 97 tons, so it was really, really heavy, and track has what's called axle weight restrictions. So you have to divide that 97, so much goes on that axle, so much goes on that one. And so basically, the more axles you have, pretend there were others, the lower the amount on each axle, you see? And so that's basically why it had the axles it had. As far as I know, this model was covered in Hornby magazine, September 2011. If we just have a look at it here, there we go. The Ugly Duckling, Metrovic, yeah, the Metrovic, built in Stockton-on-Tees, which is up in northeast England, just near Newcastle. And what I love about Hornby magazine, which I don't know of any other magazine that does this, is that they do a great review on a model like this, but then you turn the page and you find a review, if you like, of the real thing. And there it is. Now, I've read all of that time and time again, but it doesn't say why it was a Kobo. It just simply said that it was a bit unreliable, very, very smoky, the windows were rubbish, and its route availability was a problem. There were places it couldn't go because of how heavy it was. Well, it would have been even worse if it had been Bobo. Because if it had been just Bobo and not had that axle at all, then you're dividing 97 by 4 instead of dividing 97 by 5. So I think it was to do with weight distribution. And so maybe if it had been a Coco, like the Class 50 or the Class 58, maybe it would have had better route availability and been able to travel further around the network. But because it was a Kobo, there was quite a lot of weight on those axles, and so maybe it had restrictions. Please comment, please do tell me below. I mean, I've shared my wealth of knowledge here, so if you have any wealth of knowledge when it comes to the Class 28, the Metrovics, please do tell me, why was it Kobo? Just why did they make it Kobo instead of Coco, or even Bobo? But I'm glad they did. I'm really glad they did, because I absolutely love it. This is one gorgeous locomotive. I'll just ignore the little bit of hand cream off my fingers there, because my fingers are just so dry today. But yes, it's absolutely stunning, and I love the fact that it's so quirky and so different, with 6 wheels, 3 axles at one end, and then 2 axles and 4 wheels at the other end. I just think that's unique, and it is actually unique. In Britain, not in the rest of the world. I think this was quite a popular design in Japan, but in Britain it was unique. As far as I know, it was the only locomotive that had a wheel arrangement like this, which is quite special. So, what is the detail like? Well, it is stunning. The quality of this model is exceptional. We know that Heljan can make extremely good models. Just look at the Hawker Siddeley Kestrel. Absolutely beautiful. And this is no exception. It's really, really hard to handle because it's so heavy, and yet it's just packed with detail. I mean, just look at the buffer beam detail here at the end. You've got sprung buffers, just like that. They're not metal, but they are sprung. Okay? And then look at all these pipes. Look at all that there. You've even got like a 3-chain link hanging down there. You've got vacuum tubing, electrical cable connections. I didn't put any of that on. I have to point out, I didn't put any of that on. That was already there. That was already done for me. You've got a lovely etched grille on top. It's a real proper mesh. I don't know if the fan spins. We'll have to have a look in a minute. I assume those are the exhausts. They're probably air intakes. And then you've got window wipers on the end. Now, it even came in the box, I've taken them out, but it even came with little discs that you can put on the front here to indicate to the signalman what type of locomotive it is, sorry, what code of train it is, you know, whether it's an express freight or whether it's carrying the royal family or whatever. And I just haven't used them, I haven't put any on yet because, well, to be honest, I think it's only been run in and that's it. But yeah, again, at the other end, tons of detail. The doors don't open, but you have got handrails. They're not metal handrails, but you have got handrails, which is nice. And then you've got piping all along the underframe here. Just look at this. And it's all down there, and then if we flip her over, you can see it all there too. And again, look at that. Look how delicate that is. I mean, this piping is just so delicate that you've got to be really, really careful with it. But just look, it's absolutely beautiful. Isn't that beautiful? I just think it's gorgeous. It's unlike anything else I've got on my entire layout, and I can't wait to put it on the track and see how she runs. Okay, so here I am over at the layout, and I'm just going to put, I'm going to put it on the track, but I don't know which is the right way round. I don't think it really matters. I'm going to put it, well, its exhausts are in the middle, that's just a fan. Do I put it that way round or do I put it that way round? I'll put it with the co bogey first, and then we'll have the bow bogey at the end. So I'm just going to carefully load this onto the track. The model does have NEM couplings, by the way. There are 2 NEM pockets on this model, 1 at each end. I haven't put the couplings in yet, but I do have them, which is good. So there she goes. She's on the track, all nice and good. Now she is DCC ready, but she's currently DC. There's no chip inside. So let's just give her a little wiggle and test that she actually works. Oh, yes, she does. She works. Did you hear that? Because I tell you, I felt it. That is just such a smooth and powerful rumble. That's quality. That is a quality mechanism, and you know, I wouldn't expect anything less from Heljan, to be honest, because their mechanisms are really good. And with the models they do like this, you know, the Hawker Siddeley Kestrel, the Class 28, all these really quirky, out there models that nobody else does. They really do push the boat out and do a good job. This Class 28 is no exception. It's absolutely beautiful. We need to send her around the track. Beautiful. This is just quality. I'm not joking, you've got to get one of these. This is just a stunning model. The detail is exceptional. It weighs a ton and it's just so smooth. Just listen to that mechanism. Do you know what I love about this locomotive more than anything else? It stands out. It's not like anything else in the entire collection. Because of that wheel arrangement, because of having 6 wheels at one end and just 4 at the other, it really does stand out. And I can't help but keep thinking it's Boco. The model does have lights. They're very weak, but they are there. Obviously that would be better if I got it chipped. You'll be able to see them better. Look, Percy, it's Boco. What's that? Where's his face? I don't know, but trust me, it's Boco. Nah, seriously people, this is just one quality model. Absolutely gorgeous. Easily one of the best I have in the entire collection now. I just love it. And it's almost impossible to fault.